Warning. Gory Storytime is a horror movie review show by a son and his dad who thought that letting his 5-year-old watch scary movies was acceptable. If you are offended by horror or talk about blood and gore by a child, or if you don't want horror movies from the 60s through today spoiled, then there is a remote stuck in your couch cushion next to potato chip crumbs. Use it. And of course, parental discretion is advised.
Why? You didn't use any.
Shut up and start the show.
Welcome to Gory Storytime. I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig, and this is the TV show where we review horror movies from,
From
the 60s
before
to
you
now.
were born.
Yeah. This week, because your favorite genre of horror movies
Is zombie.
Yep. We decided we've done a couple things with the original. We reviewed Night of the Living Dead.
We sat down and watched Night of the Living Dead.
And did like a Gory Storytime Mystery Science Theater kind of thing that we had done here at Fact TV. And then we also...
It's Gory Storytime Theater.
Yeah, something like that. And then we finally got around to the official second George Romero.
The unofficial second, because he says that they're not connected.
But it is a trilogy.
Well, of course.
But it's not a sequel, but it's a trilogy.
The three go together,
and
but
they
the
refer
second
to
one doesn't belong.
And they refer to the first one.
But it's not the first one, because it's not a sequel.
Anyway.
Because logic.
Or maybe he considers this just like one long story. I don't know how.
Maybe.
I don't know. But that's not really the point. The
Nope.
point is, we did Dawn of the Dead. And it was a pain in the butt. Because everywhere I went, they had the remake from a couple years ago.
04.
Yeah. I didn't want to do the remake. I wanted to do the original. Because,
So we had to go back in time and
I had to
yank
special
one of
order it, which I
these.
did. But it was worth it. Anyway, before we get too far into it, basic story.
Zombies.
There's a zombie apocalypse, and there's some people that find a empty mall and hide in it.
Well, okay.
Eventually. It takes a while to actually get to
It
the
does
mall.
take a while. It takes like an hour.
Well, but that's what people remember about
Basic
this one.
story, right? Basic story is the first one never happened,
No,
but
it didn't say the first one never happened.
the last time there was an outbreak like this, they weren't prepared, but now they know what to do, and they know that it's about to happen again,
And
so
they
the
hide in the
military
mall.
is ready.
Yes, and it's people trapped in a mall.
Yes.
Okay. And
In that
it's time
order.
for the trailer. So, why don't we do that?
In 1968, George Romero brought us Night of the Living Dead. It became the classic horror film of its time.
Not that room! Not that room!
Now, George Romero brings us the most intensely shocking motion picture experience for all times.
It gets up and kills. The people it kills get up and kill. This situation must be controlled before it's too late. They are multiplying too rapidly.
Dawn of the Dead.
Meet me on the roof at 9 o'clock. Getting out.
I don't believe
We're
it.
gonna
What?
get out in the chopper. We've got to survive. Somebody's got to survive.
They kill for one reason. They kill for food. They eat their victims.
Imagine, if you will, that something has gone terribly wrong.
Shoot it, man.
Now, accept the fact that there's no escaping the horrible consequences. George Romero brings back the dead. Night of the Living Dead has ended. Dawn of the Dead is here.
We must not be lulled by the concept that these are our family members or our friends. They are not. They will not respond to such emotions.
Operator dead. Post abandoned. We may never get out of the room. It's everywhere. What the hell is it?
Looks like a shopping center, one of those big indoor malls.
What are they doing? Why do they come here?
Some kind of instinct, memory. what they used to do. This was an important place in their lives.
What is it?
We've got a war.
I'm afraid.
We have spawned our own savagery. Soon, it will consume us all. It is a horrible, hauntingly accurate vision of the mindless excesses of a society gone mad.
They must be destroyed on sight.
When there is no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
We are down to the line, folks. We are down to the line.
Dawn of the Dead.
And we're back.
All right. Before we get into the behind-the-scenes information, you know, as you say, the meat
and beef.
Meat and beef of the show, which is a very
fitting.
carnivore thing to say.
Very fitting.
We have to give a shout out to our actual sponsors. These are real things, real places, real people, etc., etc. Quote, quote, quote.
If you're playing along.
Anyway, this week, Gory Storytime is brought to you by Romero's Sporting Goods. The Second Amendment is alive and well here at Romero's. From home protection to hunting or just target practicing, we have you covered at Romero's. We have all your favorite weapons. We've got 22s, 45s, shotguns, and rifles. We've got AR-15s, but what about knives, you ask? Well, we have pocket knives, Swiss Army knives, butterfly knives, and switchblades. But because we're a sporting goods store, we also have balls. We have basketballs, baseballs, footballs, soccer balls, and golf balls. No one has more balls than Romero's. If you want to make things dead or just tell the world you have balls, Romero's is the place for you, located in your local mall.
And by Pete's People Seasoning. So, you're in an apocalypse situation and need to eat the weakest person in your group, but you don't really like the taste of people, then try Pete's People Seasoning. It takes out the nasty aftertaste of human flesh. Check out our wide selection of flavors like garlic and herb, Barbara BQ, Sal and vinegar, and Sarah Cha.
Sarah Cha.
Look for Pete's People Seasoning in your local grocery store today.
All right.
Now I'm hungry.
You want to go first?
Sure.
Here's some behind-the-scenes info.
Tom Savini, you've probably heard that name before on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Savini chose
the
gray color for the zombie skin, since Night of the Living Dead was in black and white and the zombie skin tone was not depicted. He later said it was a mistake because many of them ended up looking quite blue on film.
That's true.
Bluish, greenish.
Bluish gray is what I would have said, but yeah. The two zombie children who attacked Peter in the airport chart house are played by Donna Savini and Mike Savini, the real-life niece and nephew of Tom Savini. These are the only zombies in all of George Romero's dead films that run and do not do the trademark zombie shuffle.
Dario Argento was an admirer of George A. Romero's work, and vice versa. Argento heard that Romero was contemplating a sequel to Night of the Living Dead. He insisted that Romero come out to Argento's native Rome to write the script without distractions. Romero knocked out the script in 3 weeks, and though Argento read the script and as it came out, he left all the writing to Romero. Argento also provided most of the film's soundtrack, and in return for the rights to edit the European version of the film, assisted in raising the necessary funds.
Filming at the Monroeville Mall took place during the winter of 1977 to 1978, with a 3-week reprieve during Christmas shopping season, during which other footage, like the TV studio, was shot. Filming at the mall began around 10 p.m. shortly after the mall closed and would finish at 6 a.m. The mall didn't open until 9,
But at 6, the music came on, and no one knew how to turn it off.
Oh, fun. Zombie actors took photographs of themselves dressed up in full zombie makeup inside a photo booth on the second floor. They then replaced the sample pictures on the front of the booth with the ghoulish ones. I like that.
Yes. The scene between Roger and Peter in the trucks where they're kidding each other about their height was completely improvised by the two actors.
Makes sense. Scott H. Rayner's grandmother, despite his warnings, insisted on seeing the film at the theater. Rayner accompanied her to the showing. Rayner said she made it through part of the tenement scene. Rayner asked her if she'd like to leave. She told him yes, so they did.
Galen Ross refused to scream during the film. She felt that her character Fran was a strong female, and if she screamed, the strength would be lost. When George Romero once asked her to scream, she told him this, and he never asked again.
The MPAA had threatened to impose the X rating if George A. Romero didn't make cuts. Romero did not want to cut the film, and he was adamant against an X rating due to its stigma of hardcore pornography. In the end, Romero was able to persuade his distributors to release the film with no rating, although on all advertising trailers and trailers there was a disclaimer that in effect read that while there was no explicit sex in the film, the movie was such a violent nature that no one under 17 would be admitted.
The Monroeville Mall, used as the site of much of the action, was once the largest mall in the USA. Now, it's almost an inconsequential mall compared to other larger sites.
The outdoor scene where hunters, emergency crew, and soldiers are shooting at zombies was done through local volunteers. Several local hunters arrived on scene with their own weapons. The local National Guard division showed up in full gear, and local emergency crew, police, fire, and ambulance were present, all voluntarily.
Extras who appeared in the film were given $20 in cash, a box lunch, and a Dawn of the Dead t-shirt. I bet those t-shirts are worth a mint right now.
Oh, yeah. Big time. The voice of Christine Forrest, George A. Romero's wife, can be heard on a pre-recorded announcement in the mall. Attention all shoppers.
Conchita Lazarus' lead zombie character, the nun zombie, trapped in a door, was originally supposed to die, but Romero liked her and had her released from the door instead.
People still visit the shopping mall just to see where the film was made.
While writing the script for Night of the Living Dead, George Romero and John A. Russo contemplated how they should have the zombies destroyed. Co-star and makeup artist Marilyn Eastman joked that they could throw pies in their faces. This is undoubtedly the basis for the pie fight scene in this film.
Some of the actors playing zombies in the movie would frequently get drunk at a late-night bar called the Brown Derby, which was in Monroeville Mall. In the Monroeville Mall, one night they stole a golf cart and crashed into a marble pillar, causing $7,000 worth of damage.
Several members of the marauding band of bikers were played by members of a local chapter of the Pagans Motorcycle Club. The elaborate motorcycles they drove were their own.
Oh, fun. The skating rink shown in the film was part of the Monroeville Mall. It has since been replaced by a food court.
Some of the cast were made physically sick by the makeup work. Like, they thought it was that disgusting. You got to realize where people were sensitivity-wise. They didn't grow up having, like, horror movies to, Anyway.
Okay. George Romero was initially hesitant to cast Scott H. Rayner as Roger, despite the fact that he loved Rayner's audition, as he had already cast Ken Foree as Peter and was worried about the height
disparity
between the two actors. Rayner told Romero bluntly that after the first 15 minutes, no one in the audience would be paying attention to that detail. A short while later, Romero found Rayner and told him he got the part.
In an interview, Scott H. Rayner said his favorite moment in the film was the spontaneous idea to slide down the escalator. That part the part that made him the most nervous was driving the VW Sirocco around the mall.
Much of the fighting done by Fram was the behest
At the behest, but yes.
at the behest of Galen Ross, who refused to play a character who would not fight the zombies on her own.
And with a shoestring budget, the film couldn't afford stunt people outside of the drivers, so the makeup artist Tom Savini and assistant and friend Tasso and Starvaskis volunteered for the task. They're responsible for almost every stunt in the film, though not all went perfectly as planned. When filming the dive over the rail of the mall, Savini almost missed the pile of cardboard boxes and his legs and back landed on the ground. He had to work from a golf cart for several days. The shot where Stavrakis swung down from a banner was poorly planned, and he wound up continuing on and slamming into the ceiling. Yeah. So, the Rotten Tomatoes scores.
Yeah, okay. Well, the critics gave it 93.
And the people have it at 90. So, I mean, it's considered a classic. I mean, even the critics rate it higher than the people, which is rare for a horror movie. What was your favorite scene?
My favorite scene is not a specific scene,
Okay.
because I'm bad at that. I just love the idea of zombies. I always have, always will.
Okay, but
No.
it has to be particular to this film. Pick something.
There were zombies. No. I liked it was referenced, the nun in the door. I liked the scene with them trying to close that door there and all the zombies pushing against the door.
Okay.
And then he lost the gun.
Which is a classic thing in a lot of zombie movies where there's, they're fighting a horde of zombies trying to break into wherever they're at. I would say my favorite scene, because it was so reminiscent of the Blues Brothers, which I'm not sure if that came first or after, driving through the mall, whether it's the scene with the car going through the mall or the motorcycle gang. I actually like the motorcycle gang part better, where they're going through the mall. And the fact that it was a real mall that was currently in use, it was just closed for the night, and they allowed them to bring in an actual biker gang to go do all that. That was pretty sweet. What was your least favorite scene?
It's a tie between two.
So just pick one.
Well, I was going to do both.
Pick one. We
Okay.
have a time limit here, boy.
Well, there was an unnecessarily racist cop at the beginning.
Yep. I think that was meant to be social commentary, though.
I don't care.
Yeah,
it was
But
unnecessary.
these movies all have like commentary that they're making on, the culture. And this one had a lot to do with consumerism, and just like in the first one, there was some racist overtones that they were trying to,
Impose.
not impose, to get out there, to be like, hey, isn't this, like, you're not supposed to watch that and be like, yeah, go cop. You're supposed to watch it and go, yeah, that's messed up. So it was commentary on racism. It wasn't meant to be racist. You see what I'm saying? The character was, but you weren't
Right.
supposed to like him for
Well,
it.
no.
Okay. My least favorite thing was probably just the blood on the film. It looks like paint. Like, as much as they wanted to give it,
It was definitely.
they wanted to give it an X rating because of how gory it was. No blood looks like that. It just doesn't. I mean, it would have looked more realistic if they used ketchup, for God's sakes. It was bad.
Or done it black and white and in chocolate syrup.
Well, that was what Psycho did. But, yeah.
And
so,
that's what the first one did.
no.
Oh, wait, no.
They used chocolate syrup in the scene where they were eating the body and they were tearing it apart. That was the only chocolate syrup referenced in that. But, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's why you remember chocolate syrup being involved.
Okay.
But anyway, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate this, what's considered to be a classic, but what's your opinion?
I'd have to give it a 5.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, I enjoyed it.
You rated the original one higher, and this one's better.
I don't think
It's longer, but... really.
That's
okay.
my problem. Like,
Yeah, but
and the special effects.
you just watched
and
Infinity War, and that thing was 2 hours and 49 minutes or something. Like,
Yeah, and that felt like it went on for nothing. This felt like it went on for
That was to build up the
infinity.
drama and that was to build up the drama and intensity, though. Just like, it's so quiet for the first 10 minutes of
but like
Alien. Yeah,
but the first one was an hour and a half.
Or under, actually, maybe.
Or under. This was forever. It took so long for them to do anything. People remember them going to the mall, but the mall isn't in the movie until a good hour into the movie.
I don't think it's quite an hour, but it is a while. It is a while. All right. Well, I'm going to say an 8, just because, like, they had upped their game from the first one as far as the special effects to what they could for the time.
Right. Which were still not...
No, but
great, but you
it
can't.
was a shoestring budget in the 70s. Like, there's only so much they could do. So I mean, plus I like zombies a lot too, and I think that this, was the next progression in that genre. And I like that they threw in kids because it was meant to be a little creepier, because it's like, oh shoot, like these are dead people coming back to life. Why? And then you have to kind of go, why were those kids dead? Were they bitten by zombies, or did they die prior to this and they just came back? Because they didn't look like they had chunks missing out of them, so...
Well, most of the zombies didn't look like they had chunks missing out of them, because...
Most of them were just dead people that rose. But the ones that got bit and turned into it did have the bite marks. Anyway, I guess that's probably about it. Let's do our wrap-up thing. Please watch this show, Gory Storytime, on Fact TV Channel 8. It's on Thursday at 8:30 and Fridays at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Our email is?
At Gory Storytime. Oh, wait, no.
That's
no. It's Gory Storytime at yahoo.com.
There we go. You can like us on Facebook. Just search for Gory Storytime, or like Fact TV on Facebook.
Yep. Both good ideas.
There's a website for
factdate.com. Go to them. Watch a bunch of back episodes of ours. Go watch other shows that they have.
Absolutely.
They have a lot of shows on here.
And they have, the schedule on there a lot of the time. You can look to see what's coming up.
And this is our first new and improved episode. You've got a bunch of cool extra stuff on the screen probably.
Let's see. We have Twitters, personal Twitters.
I'm at Jason T. Jakes, capital J, capital T, capital J.
I'm at Craig Jakes. It's all one word, all lowercase. We don't really talk about the show, but, please follow us, and we'll say something horrible that makes you unfollow us shortly.
Yes. I've actually had that happen.
I have. I've had people go, oh, no.
Right.
Anyway. That's pretty much it, I guess, for Gory Storytime this week, right?
Yeah, so until next time, I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig.
And sweet dreams.